All right, this is 6.2, the mole part 2. Two topics here, going from mass to moles, as well as being able to reverse that. And then lastly, or secondly, being able to go from mass to particles and also being able to reverse that. Let's start off with mass to moles. Now, to go from mass to moles, the key here that really allows you to be able to do this is the concept of molar mass, because molar mass tells you the number of grams of a substance in 1 mole of a substance. So, for example, if I give you, let's say we have 62 grams of calcium. How many moles of calcium is that? And this problem would require you to think through, okay, I have 62 grams of calcium. How many moles of calcium is that? And what you would need is some number that has grams of calcium with moles of calcium. That tells you how many grams of calcium are in 1 mole of calcium. Now, what number is that? That's by definition, right? The molar mass, which I covered at the end of 6.1 with you guys, right? And so it is going to be, if you take a look at your periodic table, which sadly I don't have one on me right now, but if you take a look at your periodic table, right, you'll see that it's 62 grams of calcium in 1 mole of oh, sorry, it's not 62. Apologies, it's 40, right? 40. That's our weight here, right? But 40.08 you can get from the periodic table. 40.08 grams of calcium are in 1 mole of calcium. Then you do your dimensional analysis, grams cancel, you're left with moles, and so you have 1.5 moles of calcium. And that's it, that's your answer. Right, so really easy. So to do this, use molar mass to go from mass to moles. So that's simple. That's how to go from mass to moles, use the molar mass. Now, how do you go, however, from mass to particles and back again? Well, this one actually requires us to put together what we learned in 6.1 as well as what we learned in 6.2, right? Because what we ultimately need to do, so actually, let me give you an example so that we can understand this. So right, if I have 62 grams of calcium again, right, how many atoms is that? Right, so in the last question here, I asked you how many moles that is. Now I'm asking you to take it one step further to tell us how many atoms that is. And so what we did above was we went from mass to moles, right? Now the thing is, if we go to moles, then we actually also can go to particles, either molecules or in this case, it's atoms, right? And so if you start off in mass, you can go to moles, what we just did up here, and you can go to particles. So from mass to moles, you're going to use the molar mass. And then to go from moles to particles, you are going to use the avocado, or Avogadro's number, right? But we've been calling it the avocado. So from molar mass to, use molar mass to go to moles, and then use the avocado to go to particles. So let's show you that, right? If you have 62 grams of calcium, you're wondering, okay, how many atoms of calcium is that, right? What you can think through is, well, you know, how do I go from mass first to moles, right? You're going to say how many grams of calcium is in 1 mole of calcium, right? And, you know, we have that up here, and so 40.1 grams of calcium in 1 mole of calcium, we can round, it's okay, right? And you can do that, and what you would get is 1.5 moles of Ca. Now again, though, the problem is this is moles, and what we want to do is we ultimately want to get to atoms, and so we have to do this part. And so you can then have the avocado, right? How many in 1 mole of calcium, how many atoms is that? All right, that's the avocado. That's that big number, 6.02 times 10 to the 23. And so if you do that, right, what we did here is we canceled out grams, and we're left with moles. But now that we have moles, we can cancel out moles, and we're left with just atoms, which is what we want. Yay! And so if you put this in your calculator, what you should get is 9.3 times 10 to the 23. Let me just check my work there. Yeah, I think that's correct. Let me just put that into the calculator. Oh, sorry, it's 9.03. Okay, that looked wrong. Yeah, 9.0. So you can put 9.03 or 9.0, but yeah, that's good. 9.0 times 10 to the 23 atoms of calcium. And so if you're given grams of calcium, you can go to atoms by doing these steps, right? And this was the thing I did with you guys with water, right? If I give you some number of grams of water, you're able to get molecules of water, right? By doing the same steps. This is what you did in your head. This is just on paper, right? And so that's how you would do that one. And so ultimately, right, whenever you have something where it's like mass to particles, okay, think, how do I go from mass to moles? And then moles to particles. Use the molar mass and then use the avocado. You do it like that. Now, I do want to write this out cleanly though for you guys, because you can actually do it in one step. You don't need to write it like this. How I would do it is I would think through, okay, 62 grams of calcium. And, we're going to multiply by two things, right, to get atoms of calcium. Now, I color-coded intentionally over here, right, where I put molar mass in red and I put avocado in blue, right? So here, I want you to put your molar mass, and then here, put your avocado in blue. And so here, right, the molar mass is 40.1 grams of Ca over 1 mole of Ca, right? And we have grams on bottom because grams here, we want them to cancel. And you have 1 mole of Ca, and that's your molar mass. Then you're going to multiply. You're going to have 1 mole of Ca is equal to 6.02 times 10 to the 23 atoms of Ca. And then you can just cross all these out, right? I'll put this in a different color, right? And you're just left with atoms. And then if you put all that in your calculator, 9.0 times 10 to the 23 atoms of Ca. Now do note, again, let me just do that for you guys, like how would you put that in your calculator? What you would do is do 62 times 1, which you don't really have to do, right? But 62 times 1 times 6.02 times 10 to the 23. So take all that top and multiply it together, and you get 3.7 times 10 to the 25. Now you're going to take that, put it in parentheses, okay? So parentheses, answer parentheses, and then do divided by this, the 40.1, times 1, this guy here. Now again, you don't actually technically have to put 1, but, and then put all that in parentheses, and then that's how you get that answer. Okay, so that's how you do it. That's 6.2 in a nutshell. Do your practice problems based on what I just showed you, and you're gonna be great. Let me know if you have any questions.